Alright, good morning everyone. It is day 4 of the Little Lizard King Dive into Swimwear Sew Along, and today we are going to be constructing our bottoms. And I will also show you how to sew your lining and your main pieces all in one step, and it hides the seam of all of your layers in between the lining and one of the main, and you're only going to sew 3 lines. Now for me, I am sewing the vintage ruffled version of Laguna. I've got my ruffle pieces right here. So before I can add in the lining, I have to construct of my. So first things first, I'm going to run a gathering stitch along one edge of each of the ruffles. And if you have directional fabric, make sure you're gathering the inner edge. I also have my middle piece, and I have my 2 outer pieces. You'll notice I have clips on the very outsides. It's so I don't accidentally attach the outer edge to the centerpiece, because this edge is what needs to attach to the centerpiece. And if you don't notate it, I promise you'll probably get it backwards, because so now I notate which side is which. Basically, the easiest way to do that is right when you cut out your piece, this outside piece is your outer edge. So that's why I've got those clipped, and of course they're mirror images. So we are going to go to the sewing machine, and I'm going to gather these. So I'm going to move my camera. I'm going to use a straight stitch, and I'm going to choose my longest length, which is a 5. You want to make sure you have your bobbin thread and your top thread. You both have it. You have a tail of both. I'm going to do 2 rows of gathering, because I find I get more even gathers that way. You're not going to back stitch at all. You're just going down. And when we get to the other end, we're going to leave a tail at the other end as well. Put my needle up. Get my tail. So there's my first row of gathering. I'm going to do a second one. But I'm going to move it a 1/2 inch seam allowance from my first one. Alright, so we've got that. Get my second tail. Move back to the table. You would repeat that process for the second one, but I'm going to show you how you put your ruffle on. And you're going to Your gathered stitches are going to be along this outer edge. You're going to start 1 inch down. Pin it or clip it. And then you're going to do the other end 1 inch above. The right sides are together. I'm going to take both of my bobbin threads, and I'm going to start pulling them. You can gather them before you put it on. I personally like to clip it first. And you're just going to slowly gather this. If it were a longer area, I would pin it. I would also clip it in the middle, but this is a fairly short ring. If you find that your thread is, you can take your threads and you can just kind of wrap it around. Normally I have a pin, but you just do it in a figure 8. And that's going to secure that thread from moving. Just going to keep moving it down until it matches. Alright, now we've got it pretty close. I'm going to try to, so I can adjust those gathers all the way down. To the bottom of my gathers. I'll lock those so that thread won't move. You can see that the gathers are laying flat. That's the second row of gathering that helps flat and keeps it from the edge being all jumbled up. Alright, so we've got that. I'm going to clip this in place and then we'll baste this. So let's go back to the machine. I'm just going to keep it at the longer edge to baste it in place. And I'm going to go ahead and remove that first clip so I don't accidentally run over it. You're going to keep the edge of your ruffle even with the edge of the centerpiece. So we've got it basted on. Now what we're going to do is we are going to grab the piece that goes to the side. Remember, this is the outer edge. So this is the side that's going to go on top of the ruffle. Now I'm just going to show you this one side before I stop the video to move on to the next thing. If I could pause the video, I would go ahead and add on the other ruffle so you can verify that it's the same on each side so it's even. But I'll show you how you can do that after you've already one side on. We're going to switch to the lightning bolt stitch. And it's a 1/2 inch seam allowance. And remember, we're not stretching. We're just kind of feeding our fabric through that seam allowance accurate along the side. Those are my gathering threads that I still have. All right. So you can see on the back side, the long stitch is where I basted it on. It's really not needed. Then what we're going to do is the ruffle flips outward. And then you'll top stitch along this.